Hello, it's Maryon Stewart, and I'd like to welcome you to today's live session. I'm going to get through as many questions as I can. We'll probably be together for half an hour, so if you can get yourself a cup of tea or something to drink, just sit down and relax, and I'll go through some of the questions that have been sent in. Also want to talk about 2018 and being symptom-free and how you can go about doing that. And at the end, I'm going to do the live draw of our final goodie bag for 2017. So there's tons of amazing things in that goodie bag. If you haven't already registered, it's worth over £200, and it's got all sorts of supplements in it. It's got the new Become clothing that helps with flushing, and it's got some skin products as well. So it's definitely worth having. If you haven't done it, then go to my website, maryonstewart.com, and just register, because we'll be doing the draw in about half an hour. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to take, I think I've got 4 or 5 questions I'm going to take. Some of them are quite long questions, so just need to bear with me, and I will do as much as I can. So the first one is Tracy Appleton. So Tracy, you say, I'm new to this group and to this whole thing we know as menopause. I felt for a long time that I'd hit the perimenopause and more recently the menopause itself. My problem is, as I've had the Mirena coil for a long time, my periods had stopped anyway, so there was no way to confirm it. I went to my GP recently as I was experiencing anxiety, along with hot flushes, and a general feeling of fuzzy brain, not being on the ball, so to speak. Oh, and not to mention no sex drive whatsoever, nil, zero, zilch, nada, dead from the waist down. I asked about menopause and his thoughts on maybe vitamin supplements. He prescribed me with Prozac, as I had used it in the past, and said it was used to treat menopause symptoms. I've been taking this for a month or so when I heard Maryon on Jeremy Vine's show and began to rethink the Prozac route. I then had a conversation with a friend in the USA who had her hormone levels looked at and is now taking bioidentical hormones in the form of a pellet under her skin, and she says it's changed her life. She goes back to her practitioner on a 3-monthly basis to have her levels monitored and the hormones adjusted if necessary. However, it costs her in the region of $700 every 3 months, but she swears it's worth it. From what I gather, it seems there are very few experts offering this service in the UK, and even if I wanted to go down that route, I'm in no financial position to do so. So looking for alternative advice and suggestions. Sorry for the long-winded post, but I'm wondering if anyone else is in a similar position. Also, if Maryon does read this, what is your opinion on the bioidentical hormone replacement as opposed to HRT standard we tend to use? Thanks. Okay, so that brings up lots of different aspects, but let me just talk first of all about the symptoms, okay? So, certainly Prozac is not a solution to menopause. Prozac is used to treat women who have depression, and although menopause can sometimes feel like a mental illness, it is far from a mental illness. It's just a transition that you go through in your life, and you go in one end and out the other. And it's how you travel through that journey that depends on the outcome. So you can either feel terrible all the way through the menopause and worse afterwards because you're no longer protected by estrogen when your ovaries stop functioning, and also you've got low levels of nutrients, or certainly many women have low levels of nutrients, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. So you're going to go from bad to worse, and you can feel terrible through the menopause, you can feel terrible after the menopause, and then you're much more susceptible to things like osteoporosis, the bone thinning disease, heart disease, dementia, and aches and pains, rheumatism, arthritis, and that kind of thing. So it doesn't have to be like that. If you learn how to meet your needs, then you can overcome your symptoms. It's almost like turning your biological clock back, and you can feel better than you can remember. And that can be going on for years, not just when you're 50 or 60, but certainly later in your life as well. Because once you know how to meet your needs, you can do it forever. So it's really important, and that's why I'm passionate about this, because we're living so much longer than we have before. 100 years or so ago, we weren't living much past 50, and now for many of us, 50 just represents the halfway mark. We've got lots of years to embrace and do amazing things with our lives. But if we're not feeling well, and if we're feeling terrible, we can't do any of those things. We can't be the person we want to be. We can't do good things for other people. We can't be a role model. We can't work and be productive. And we certainly can't have loving relationships because they become too painful, too stressful, and relationships can fall apart. Obviously, every single woman has the right to go through this journey in the way she so chooses. But you need knowledge, you need information, you need to be able to decide whether you want to do it naturally. You need to be able to decide whether you want to try HRT or bioidentical hormones, and I'm going to talk a bit more about that. In my masterclass, I talk a lot more about it, and I show a whole presentation in an hour, as well as answering questions, so you can get more of an idea about what's going on in your body. But I'm going to give you a potted version right now so that you understand. So to answer this particular question, the first part of it is to say that what happens in a woman's body when she's going through perimenopause and menopause can mean that the hormones just can't function normally. So you've got two main things going on. One is that your estrogen levels are falling because your ovaries are no longer producing estrogen. So that's not going to be good for you, because the brain then tries to kickstart the ovaries back into function, thinking they should be functioning. Because remember, if you weren't living much past 50, your ovaries functioned until you died. So the brain is sending these thermal surges through your body, trying to get things working again. And obviously you're not going to have your own estrogen from your ovaries anytime again soon. So you've got to do something about that to replace the estrogen. And you can do that. You can put naturally occurring estrogen into your body from food and specific supplements that have been through clinical trials. And you can fool the brain into thinking you've got normal circulating estrogen again. So it's a really good way to do it. No side effects either. So the other thing you need to address is the fact that we did research over the years on women of childbearing age, and we found that very often women have got low levels of important nutrients, and that gets less as you get older. So things like magnesium, iron, zinc, calcium, essential fatty acids, vitamin D, lots of nutrients become in short supply, and that prevents your brain chemistry from being able to function normally. So you then get into a situation where you've got brain fog, where you've got anxiety, where you've got the hot flushes and night sweats, where you've got vaginal dryness and sex then becomes painful. Because those cells in your vagina, for example, that were producing the mucus and the nice elasticy tissues in your vagina, the factory closes down when your estrogen levels fall, when your ovaries stop working. So you've got to get the light switch going in the factory again so that you can get those cells being made again. And that's perfectly possible. So for those of you who don't know, I've actually been helping women to overcome their symptoms successfully for over 26 years for menopause and even longer for PMS. And my program is a 5-month program, so it doesn't mean that you're symptom-free tomorrow, but it means you're working towards it. And the symptoms can go, certain symptoms can go, things like, for example, constipation, if you suffer with that, usually within a couple of weeks. If you're feeling anxious and panic attacks, usually that goes within about 6 weeks. If you've got hot flushes and night sweats, they start to calm down within 4 to 6 weeks, but it does take a while for all these symptoms to get under control. And if you're feeling depressed and you haven't had a history of depression in your life, the chances are that your low levels of nutrients mean that you're seeing the world through different coloured lenses. You can't function normally. You go into what I call economy mode, where your brain just won't let you have a good energy level, good libido, sense of humour. You just feel awful because you are running on empty. And you may have nutritional deficiencies. So very often people have got, as I said, low iron stores, low magnesium, low calcium levels, low vitamin D. All of those things are going to make you feel bad. So we need to work out what is going on in your body. Now, within the group, there are some files. So in those files, you should find the nutritional evaluation files, so you can actually take, and we'll put these links into the group as well in case you can't find them. So you can take a nutritional evaluation and you can work out what's going on in your body in terms of nutrients, what you're low in, what you need to function, what you need to focus on and cram into your diet, and maybe to take some supplements. So, for example, we use multivitamins and minerals. We tend to use standardized products that have been through clinical trials, and Femma 45 Plus is a good supplement. Again, we can put the link in the group afterwards as a blanket recommendation to boost your nutrient levels and get them back into an optimum range. So that's one thing you can do for yourself. But it's not a whole solution to menopause. And that's really important to stress that, because getting your nutrient levels into an optimum range is only part of the story. My program is a 5-pronged approach. So you've got taking supplements that have been through scientific trials and been shown to be safe and effective. You've got making your diet good and clean so that you're not going to make your symptoms worse. So for example, coming off caffeine, tea and coffee, chocolate in the short term, so that you can actually give your body a rest, not having too many hot drinks, not having too much alcohol because that brings on the flushes, spicy food. All of those things can make your symptoms worse. So it's really important to clean up your diet. Then you need to put into your diet naturally occurring estrogen. So that means foods that are rich in soy, if you can tolerate them, flax seeds, linseeds, and you also need to probably have some red clover. You can't get that in food form, so we tend to use Promensil, which is a scientifically based supplement. It's been through lots of clinical trials, and that helps. It gives you either 40 milligrams or 80 milligrams of isoflavones a day, depending on how you take it. And that helps to fool the brain into thinking you've got normal circulating estrogen. So lots of self-help things you can do, plus exercise and formal relaxation. So formal relaxation, as you've probably heard me say lots of times, can help to reduce your flushes by 50 or 60%. Just doing a formal session of relaxation, like meditation, the relaxation you do after yoga session, or maybe something like the Pazizz app, which takes you into a really deep, relaxed state and brings you out again. So those are key things that you can do. Obviously, there's a lot more you can do as well. I wouldn't necessarily, I think that, and again, in the files section in the group, chapter 4 of my new book, Beat Menopause the Natural Way, has got a review of the world literature on HRT. And I tried to cover everything. I did it in conjunction with 2 world-class experts on HRT to try and make it clear, because it's such a confusing picture. And some bioidentical hormones, for example, were supposed to be taken off the market in America because they were perceived by the FDA to be dangerous. Some bioidentical hormones have had some research done on them and they're a bit better, but they're still hormones. There are still side effects to hormones. There is still an increased risk of breast cancer. There is still an increased risk of clotting and stroke. So if you want to go down that road, I would suggest that you try everything else first, but it's your call. If you're on HRT, don't come off it quickly. You need to wean off it while you get yourself established on the alternative. And if you want to try HRT for a while, there's nothing to stop you doing the natural approach at the same time in tandem, and then you can wean yourself off HRT later on. It is not a lifelong treatment. It's not meant to be taken in the long term. And I have been helping women, as I said, for so many years. We don't use HRT. I've had patients who've described their vagina as a burning fireball, couldn't sit down, let alone have sex. People who are melting from hot flushes and having terrible panic attacks and palpitations. All of those symptoms can be controlled within the space of a matter of months. And then you can go on a maintenance program and you can enjoy the rest of your life. And it's just really important that you know that there are options, but you need to actually find out what's the best thing for you. So there are ways that you can do this for yourself, and I will come back to the questions, but while I'm talking about this, I just want to let you know that no matter what your budget is, there's something for you. So you can get lots of self-help information in this group, which is why I set it up. I do a weekly wisdom film, which you can get from my website, that's free, and there's a newsletter that's free. So I'm always reporting on new research, so you've got lots of information that you can get that doesn't cost you a penny. If you've got absolutely no money, you can go to the library and you can get one of my old books, or you can probably find an old book that you can buy for very little on Amazon. My latest book is Beat Menopause the Natural Way. We'll put the link in the group. That's the only book that's up to date. There is another book called The Natural Menopause Plan that's published by a publisher. It isn't updated, even though they've put a new date on it. It's 10 years old and it doesn't have current information and thinking in it. So if you're going to get a book, get Beat Menopause the Natural Way, or if you can afford to buy a book. If you want, self-help is good for some women. Other women find that they take a few steps forward, they haven't got the willpower, they're feeling overwhelmed, they've been up all night, they can't focus, they can't concentrate, they don't feel they can help themselves. So in that case, you could come to my 6-week boot camp. Obviously it costs some money, but by the time you save money on all sorts of things like buying clothes because of your ever expending waistline and wasting money on supplements that don't work, you will save money, and also some of the foods and drinks that you'll end up coming off, like chocolate, for example, and alcohol. You do save some money so you can make that financially viable. And again, we'll put a little clip of a film we did with some of the women from the boot camp after 5 weeks of the 6-week boot camp, because they felt that it really changed their life. They could see a light at the end of the tunnel. Their symptoms were either gone or going, and some of them went on to go into my coaching course, which is another 3 months, where I really do hands-on in all these things I'm offering. I'm with you every step of the way. I'm answering questions. You have your own special Facebook group to go to as a group, and so I can really help you to get symptom-free. So you can manage by yourself, or you can get a bit of help along the way. And I also do some one-to-one consultations, but it's entirely up to you what you want to do. The groups are fun, and I think they become a bonding experience for women. So no matter what you do, and you don't even have to work with me, you can go online and find someone else to work with, but you need to find something that's going to work for you rather than going on being symptom-free and guessing. And the thing that I'm going to be changing in the new year is, because I'm finding it very upsetting and I think it's very confusing, and I probably haven't made it clear enough, is that this group is about me imparting scientifically based information so that you can all be symptom-free, no matter whether you do it by yourself or whether you have a bit of help. What it isn't about is people telling you to try this, that and the other. So I've seen, for example, yesterday I was looking and people were talking about taking a bit of magnesium. They were saying use a magnet. Some people were saying take sage. Some people were saying take some multivitamins. Some people saying take black cohosh. You can go round in circles wondering what to do. And if you do try and take those things, which brand should you use? Which dose should you use? We used to use the magnets with patients and hoped that they would provide a bit of extra relief. But the general consensus was that they didn't. So why waste your money on doing something that isn't particularly likely to work? It may work for some women. There may be a placebo. But it isn't. The approach that I use is over 90% of women are completely symptom-free within 5 months. And there's no downside. There's no side effects. And you can guarantee that you're going to feel better. And most people feel better than they can remember. So I just want you, if you've come to the bother of joining the group, I want you to have the best information. I want you to forget about searching online and trying to guess what's going to work for you. So many people online have got a vested interest and they want you to buy their products. And for example, there was one particular product that was supposed to have 39 milligrams of isoflavones in it, but in an independent analysis, it only had 1 milligram. So there's lots of medical science to show that a lot of these supplements don't have in them what they say they have on the label, so you can't be sure. And you don't know if it's going to be safe either. So all the things that I recommend have been through trials around the world. They've been shown to be safe and not have any adverse effects on your breast tissue or on the lining of the uterus, and that's really important going forward as well. So I will get on to the next question now, so hopefully that gives you a bit of a background into what is possible and how you can help yourself in the different ways come in the new year. So just bear with me a second. Let me get my iPad back on and go back to the page. And I'll take the next question. Right, so the next one is Juliet Blackwell. So she says, hello all. So new year, new me. I'm going to start some jogging and get fit. But being peri, I suffer with tiredness as well as all the other things we get. Any tips on what vitamins or what I can do to keep myself feeling energized, as I don't want to do more harm than good? Okay, so there's obviously an overlap in what I've just been saying, and exercise is great, But obviously, if you're feeling really tired, then you can only do a limited amount of exercise. So one of the first things to do is go and get, if you're feeling tired, go and get your serum ferritin measured by your doctor. And also, if you suspect that you are overly tired and maybe battling with your weight, ask for your thyroid function to be checked as well. And also your vitamin D levels, because if you've got low levels of those things and your thyroid's out of kilter, then it's a bit like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in it. So we want to make sure that you're in good nutritional shape. So do that nutritional review I talked about before, and make sure you're eating healthily and that you eat little and often, that you have a constant supply of good nutrients going through to your brain and your nervous system. Take some multivitamins like the Femma 45 Plus, which you can get through the shop on my website, and if you put the code in Midlife Switch 2017, you'll get 10% discount. So you can do those things. Do your relaxation session every day. So you want to do at least 20 minutes or half an hour a day. Make the time to do that. Even if you're saying, I'm too busy, I haven't got time, you'll get the time back because it makes you feel so much better. It gives you a recharge. And that's really important. So lots of things that you can do to get yourself into better shape. And also exercising helps to speed up your metabolism. So at midlife, your metabolism slows down. So even if you're just eating your old diet, you'll put weight on. So you need to keep doing more action, more active things, and maybe taking in slightly less calories so that you get the scales back into balance. So, but it's not just about taking a multivitamin. You've got to make sure you've got your estrogen, your naturally occurring estrogen in your body. It looks so similar under the microscope to ordinary estrogen. You can fool the brain, so you need to do that with food and some supplements. And you also need to make sure that you take out the things that are going to make your symptoms worse. So find an alternative to chocolate, find an alternative to tea and coffee at the moment, cut the alcohol right down to a minimum. I know it's New Year's Eve tonight, so you can start in the new year, but honestly, it's just so worth it because you're going to feel so much better. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of encouragement. Okay, so let's move on from Juliet to Mary Finn Fitzgerald. So Mary Finn says, 2 years period free, hot flushes gone during the day, but as soon as I hit the pillow, I'm on fire, all night. I sleep naked, window open, radiator off, and a fan going next to me. All night, I'm still on fire. I take 2 sage and 2 magnesium tablets every night. I'm 55. Does this ever end? Okay, so the answer to does this ever end is maybe not. The research shows it can go on for 10 years and maybe it could go on for longer. I've certainly had patients who are still flushing in their 70s. But it doesn't have to, and that's why you need to learn to meet your needs. So maybe you're partly doing that, and that's why you're getting the flushes to switch off during the day, but certainly at night you're still suffering. So that says to me that you haven't got enough naturally occurring estrogen in your body, because if you did, and if you did it little and often throughout the day and the evening, then your brain would think you had normal circulating estrogen and those night sweats would disappear. So that's really important. So in the short term, obviously you're doing all the right things with the fan and the layered bed clothing and all that kind of stuff. Magnesium may help because it's one of the most common deficiencies, but it's not going to be a solution to your hot flushes and night sweats. So I would suggest that you probably take some Promensil. You can take either 40 milligram pill or you could try the 80 milligram pill. Depends on how many isoflavones you're having in your diet. And I would also probably try the Feminescence Macapause, which also you can get through the shop. And that's an organic maca root product that has been through lots of clinical trials, and it's been shown to help with the flushes. It helps to normalise hormone function in the hormone producing glands, so you can try that as well. And those 2 things should help and keep those flushes under control. And also, I don't know whether you're having any caffeine or chocolate or whatever, hot drinks, spicy food, all of those are going to make it much worse. So that's the thing you can do. And don't forget, doing a formal session of relaxation. Try the Paziz app if you find it hard to relax, and that will help you to reduce your hot flushes and your night sweats by 50 or 60%. So lots of things that you can do to get started, and I think it's really important. to make a start tomorrow, and hopefully you'll be feeling a bit better very soon. So there are obviously other things that you can do as well, but just for you to have something to get started on straight away. So next one is Joe Kerbal. Joe says, hi, I turned 50 this year and have been going through the perimenopause for about 2 years. Although I started perimenopause at the age of 45, I haven't had a period for 8 or 9 years, but this could have been because of my contraceptive pill and my thyroid medication. I wonder if anyone could advise me on what is best for night sweats and insomnia. I tried HRT, which was brilliant. Then 3 months into it, I had severe pain in my legs and circulation problems, so I had to come off it. I've tried lots of different alternatives, but nothing seems to work. I also suffer with vaginal dryness, which at the start gave me terrible bouts of cystitis. My sex life has been affected, and my partner has also suffered soreness because of this. I have tried estrogen pessaries, which like HRT gave me pain in my legs. We are using a lubricant, and I also use vaginal moisturiser, but is there anything else I could try orally? I do have memory problems, and my skin on my body has suddenly changed, but I don't suffer mood swings, anxiety or depression. Any tips would be gratefully appreciated. Thank you so much. So let me think here. This is vaginal dryness, and we've talked about hot flushes, night sweats, so I'll talk a bit about insomnia, and also about lubrication. So first of all, you need to focus on the inside as well as the outside. So if you remember, I was saying about how you need to get the cells being produced again that produce the mucus and the elasticity in the vagina. So soy has been shown to do that, and you can take that in your diet. You can use soy milk, soy yogurt, tofu if you like it, marinated soya pieces. You can take the Promensul, which has got the different isoflavones in it as well, which has also been shown to help with vaginal dryness. There's a particular supplement called omega-7, which is made by Pharmanord, and again you can get that through the shop, and you take that in the morning and later on in the day, and that helps to get the cells back into production and the elasticity in your vagina. So that's one way you can do it from the inside. So as a short-term, coconut oil can help. There's the Yes lubrication, and there are 2 new creams that I talk about in my book. One of them I've located, it's not widely available at the moment, and the other one I'm trying to track down because it's Italian, and to get some supplies in the UK, but they've both been shown to have the same effect as HRT cream. So we can post some links to those as soon as we've managed to access them properly. But there are things that you can do in the short term to help to control those vaginal symptoms. But it takes a while for when you're eating naturally occurring estrogen, it's not going to be tomorrow that you're feeling better. It's going to take a few months to get those symptoms under control. I think Lynn, who described her vagina as a burning fireball, she said it took about 3 months and she was back to having perfectly normal sexual relationship with her husband, and everything felt like it'd been switched back on from the waist downwards. It was all working properly and she was comfortable again. So it does take a little while, so you need to factor that into your mind so that you don't lose hope when it doesn't happen so quickly. So for insomnia, the insomnia often happens because you've got the night sweats and you get this surge that wakes you up in the night, which is the brain trying to kickstart the ovaries back into function. And so that's why you get the night sweats, and then that wakes you up. So obviously getting the night sweats under control is going to help you so that you don't wake up because of those. If you've got insomnia otherwise, then you can take some valerian, which is a herb that helps. And there are also other supplements that contain black cohosh and valerian, which we use. And we can provide some links to those. That you can and that helps with the flushes as well. But again, we use supplements that have been standardised and have been through clinical trials. So it's really important to choose your supplements very wisely so that you know you're getting what it says on the packet. So that's another thing. The other thing is Paziz, the app I was talking about, as well as having a nap program, which is an energizer. They have a sleep program. So you can use that. You can get the free app on your phone to start with if you don't want to pay for the app. but then I think they have a special offer that you can get it for about 20-something pounds for the whole year. And if you like it, then it's a really good investment. So, but you can use the free one for as long as you like. And that has a sleep program too. You can just plug into that and that helps. There are lots of other things that you can do for insomnia, but I'd try those things first of all and make sure you're not having caffeine, even decaffeinated, because that can keep you awake at night and give you restless legs. Okay, so there's one more question which I'm going to go and find, and then we'll do the draw. Let's see if I can find this question. So this is from Anne, Germany, and Anne says, I need advice about shocking weight gain. Being to the GP who is not interested, really affected by my confidence and fitness interests. GP gave me citalopram, which is an antidepressant for perimenopause issues. I've stopped taking them gradually over the year. I've piled on 23 pounds and I'm 5'3". It's just too much. I did go to a homeopath who diagnosed thyroid issues, and the remedies did help, but it got too expensive. What can I do to rev my metabolism up? I already exercise, eat healthily, etc. However, I don't sleep well. So lots of questions for you, Anne. Hang on, I've just lost your question. Let's see. So first of all, I should say that women on my program lose weight without dieting. So it seems to have a normalizing effect on metabolism. And when you get to midlife, because your metabolism slows down, as I said before, it's very difficult for you to maintain your weight. Unfortunately, the side effect of antidepressants is that they make you gain weight, just as the side effects of HRT can do that for some women. In our trials, we've done surveys and trials on all sorts of women taking HRT, and we found that on average they gained 18 pounds within the first year, and that hangs around your middle and your thighs, and it doesn't make you feel good. In fact, it makes your self-esteem go down even more than it is at the moment. So I really understand what you're talking about. 23 pounds and you're only 5'3" is much too much. I don't know how much exercise you're doing, but you can up your exercise, reduce your intake of food a little so that you tip the scales, but also you need to make sure that you're taking good multivitamins and minerals, that your nutrient levels are in an optimum range, and that you're consuming naturally occurring estrogen. When you're consuming naturally occurring estrogen, don't make the mistake of adding that to whatever else you've got in your diet, because don't forget you've got extra calories. So you'll need to use the soy light, the milk that's soy light rather than the full fat one, and take something else out of your diet. So you need to plan it out. In the book, I've got menu plans and lots of suggestions, and obviously in the boot camp, I'll help you design the whole program for yourself and then take you through it and get you established on it. But it's entirely up to you how you want to travel. But just bear in mind, it really is output versus input, and you've got that added challenge at midlife. Obviously, you've got 23 pounds to lose now. You need to make sure you get your symptoms under control as well. So don't starve yourself, because if you starve yourself, your metabolism drops even further. So that's the wrong thing to do. I have helped patients to lose weight, and I've got a film which I posted in the group at some point with a lady called Jo. Always makes me laugh because she had massive bosoms when she got so fat. And over time, I worked with her and she lost 70 pounds. But as I say, a lot of women just lose weight without dieting on the program, without even trying to lose weight, because it has a normalizing effect on their metabolism. So that is it on the questions for today, but do keep your questions coming in. I will be answering some more in the new year. And now I need to try and find the email from Julie. So if you just bear with me for a second, because Julie was going to do the draw for me. And let's see if I can find the email to see who has actually won. Right, here it is. So, drum roll, big drum roll. And so tonight's winner is Ellen Kehoe. So Ellen, you have won the goodie bag, and you need to get in touch with Julie, or in fact Julie will be in touch with you, because you've got, it will come to you, there's a voucher in it for the Become clothing, and we need to know your size so that you can get the tank top and the pants, which help to control flushes. So well done you, and we're hoping that we will be able to persuade companies to give us some more product for goodie bags in the new year. So if you haven't won one in the last few weeks, then hopefully there'll be another opportunity in the new year. Everyone that goes onto my boot camp gets a special goodie bag, and I do talk a bit about that in the masterclass. So if you haven't already been to the masterclass, it costs absolutely nothing, just an hour of your time. Go and listen. If you want to manage by yourself, you're still going to get lots of good information. In fact, I had a post from someone yesterday who said she came to the masterclass, she's made the changes I recommended, and she's doing absolutely brilliantly. Her symptoms are under control. So some people can manage by themselves, other people like some hand-holding and some help. So whatever you choose to do, I just make a resolution that you're going to get yourself back to being symptom-free in the new year. You're going to be back to feeling better than you can remember. You're going to lose weight if you need to. You're going to feel sexy again and energetic, and that this is going to be a life-changing time for you so that you can embrace the rest of your life and really enjoy yourself and all the things you do in your life. And I hope that 2018 is a wonderful year for you and your family. I look forward to sharing the journey with you in whichever way you choose, and hope you have some fun tonight. Don't drink too much alcohol unless you want to feel absolutely ghastly tomorrow. Maybe try some of Julie's alternatives that we put in the sheet, the festival sheet. If you haven't already got that, find it in the files on the group so that you can download it and you can take advantage of that tonight. So have fun and just be optimistic, have hope in your heart, and know that you are going to get better, and you've chosen the right place to come to. Okay, Happy New Year.